Hey everybody, I'm Sean Hammond with PremierGuitar.com. We're at Summer NAMM 2011 in Nashville with David Gartland from Saga Musical Instruments, and we just heard from Raul Reynoso on guitar over there. David, tell us about this guitar we just heard.
Well, thank you very much. This is a really special guitar. It's from our Gitane line of Gypsy Jazz guitars, and it's the first ever nylon string Gypsy Jazz guitars by Gitane. It's a sort of a it's been inspired by an original design made back in the early 30s, designed by a very famous player and luthier. And we're just proud to have finally been able to bring this style of guitar to the market where it hasn't been for such a long time. It combines some features that are reminiscent of the old design, but adding some modern features and design in terms of material choice that we thought would give it the tonal features that really it should have had, that it really didn't have back in those old days. So
you were telling me about this earlier, that you feel like the nylon string versions probably didn't catch on very well because they sounded kind of dead, right?
Probably not the best way for me to have said it, but truth be told, it really didn't get the respect it deserved, because it really didn't have the singing properties that even the designer had hoped that it would have. In some ways, and in other ways, it was a fine guitar made very well, but it just didn't catch on by the players, and that's probably part of it, that it just didn't have the projection that maybe they needed at the time. But what we did was we decided we were going to combine some materials that, when blended together, were going to give it the sound qualities that would give it a little bit more oomph. For example, the back and sides are cypress, so you get a really nice, snappy, warm sound. On the top, we have Port Orford cedar, which is it's a rare cedar that's found in the Pacific Northwest. It has properties that kind of blend spruce and cedar together. You get the warmth of the cedar, but the sort of the articulation of a spruce, which it's due to the hardness of the material.
It looks a lot like spruce too. It's very nice.
Yeah, if you look at it, you'll see that a lot of people would mistake it for spruce, but tonally it gives a little bit of a warmer edge than just a straight spruce top would have. And so when you combine those materials together, you get a guitar that has the power, the articulation, but the soft warmth, that, all those things combined, making it a really unique instrument for not just classical guitar or gypsy swing, which we've heard, or flamenco style.
Now, Gitane has several other gypsy jazz guitars. Is cypress used very often in those other models, or is that pretty unusual?
Yeah, it's very unusual. Actually, it was, to my knowledge, it was not really used as a standard material in the guitars. Typically, it was a spruce top with a laminate rosewood back and side. Back in the 30s, it was very common to do it that way, which adds to sort of the articulate nature, the aggressive attack of that kind of a guitar. But we thought, well, if we're going to offer a classical guitar, which is somewhat of a subdued instrument in ways that maybe the steel string versions are, we thought if we blended these particular materials, knowing what they would do to the sound, we thought we'd really take it to the next level, and I think we've done that. It's a really strong guitar, even though it's a very nylon. It can be soft-spoken and it can be aggressive.
So you feel like the cypress gave it a little bit of a warmer sound?
Correct, exactly. And combining that with that very unique the cedar, those two blends really brought out the positive tonal properties of the woods. When combined, it really was a synergy.
Okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the rest of it? I think you said it had an ebony bridge and.
Yeah, this particular guitar, for those of you who know Selmer style or McAfee style guitars, they had a movable bridge, but for those who don't know, the classical one had the bridge you see here as a more of a classical inspired bridge. It's not movable, it's glued to the top. It's made of ebony with a split bone saddle, which really is the bone is just the perfect material for a saddle. It's on any guitar, it's the best thing to use, I think. The ebony gives it a really fine look, but it's one of the best materials you'd use for bridge material as well. And then in keeping with the ebony, we used ebony for the fingerboard, ebony for the binding, with maple and ebony purfling.
All right, Raul, let's hear some more sounds from this. Where can people go to find out more about it online?
You could go to www.sagamusic.com. And you'll see the guitar. You'll also see some videos of one of our players, Lulo Reinhardt, Django Reinhardt's grandnephew, who's been playing this guitar for the last year. He's been really doing wonderful music with this guitar all over the world. You just look up sagamusic.com or type in Gitane. You'll find us, and you'll see it there. And you'll see it at your local retailers. I hope more every day. You know.
Cool. Thanks, David. Thanks, Raul. I'm Sean Hammond. Thanks for watching PremierGuitar.com.